Hello and welcome. Let us try to solve this word problem using the problem solving strategy we went over in the previous video. The first step is to read the problem. So let's read the problem. We just not only have to read it, we also need to understand the problem. So we need to, first step is to read and make sure we understand all the words and ideas. Okay. To read the problem, the the sum of two consecutive integers is 89. Find the integers. Now the question is, do we understand what integers are? What does the sum mean? What does consecutive mean, right? So let's say, do we understand what are integers? Yes, integers is nothing but a set of numbers that are whole, but in this one we also include the negative of those numbers. For example, -5, -4, so on. 0 is an integer, 1, 2, 3, right? These are all integers. So none of these are fractions or decimals. These are complete numbers, whole numbers, plus the negative of whole numbers in there. Now, what do we understand from the word consecutive? The numbers that are just next to each other, for example, 1 and 2, 2 and 3. Because these numbers are next to each other, there's no number that's skipping between them. We call them the consecutive number integers. Let's take an example when the numbers are not consecutive. So let's say 1 and 3. These are not, because we are skipping a number in between them. For example, 25 and 38 are not consecutive, right? So the numbers that are next to each other, 1, 2, 2, 3, 25, 26, 89, 90. Now, if you look at these, the list, you'll see a pattern when two numbers are next to each other. One number is 1 plus the previous number. So if we're talking about 90, it's nothing but 89 plus 1. 3 is nothing but 2 plus 1. So it's the number, this number, let me highlight it using. So this number is nothing but the previous number plus 1, right? So now let's check off what we have done. Yes, we have read the problem, and we also understand the keywords in this problem. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Identify what we are looking for. What are we looking for? We are trying to find the integers. The integers which when added to each other, their sum is equal to 89. So we're looking for two numbers that are next to each other, they are consecutive, and their sum is 89. Okay, let's go to the next step. Now let's name what we are looking for. Choose a variable to represent the quantity. Okay, let's do that. So a third step is to name the variable, right? What we are looking for. Let's go back to this list that we have created of consecutive numbers 1, 2, 2, 3, 25, 26, 89, 90. So if we follow this pattern, what do we understand from it? If one number is n, the next number would be n plus 1, right? So if the first number is 1, the next number will be 1 plus 1, 2. And this is basically the key of this question, right? How do you pick the numbers or the variables? So if the first number that we pick is n, then the other number is n plus 1. We could also take n minus 1 because they are also consecutive numbers, right? A number before the variable, like before n, will also be consecutive. For example, let's say 24, the number before 24, 23, and the number after 24 is also consecutive. So 24 is next to 25. This makes one set, and 23 and 24 makes also two consecutive integers. Okay, so let's name the integers. We say let's take one as n and the other as n plus 1. Okay, let's go to the next list. The next step on our list. The next step is translate to an equation. Restate the problem as a sentence and then change it or translate it into an algebraic equation. Okay. We are given the sum. We know that sum really means addition of two consecutive integers is 89. So what is given to us? That n plus n plus 1, when we add this, is equal to 89. So we rewrote the question as a algebraic equation and now solve the equation. That's easy. So look at the equation. N plus 1 equals 89. Let's collect the like terms first. On this side we get 2n plus 1 equals 89. Using addition or subtraction principle to get, we subtract 1 from both sides so that we can isolate n, the term containing n. So 2n equals 88. The next step would be to use the multiplication principle. That means to get n by itself, let's divide both sides by 2. So we get n equals 44. So if one of the numbers is 44 and we said the second number should be n plus 1, the second number would be 45. So we have two numbers, 44 and 45, according to us. That's what we think the answers should be. Okay, let's check off what we have done. We solved the equation. Now let's check the answer in the problem and make sure it makes sense. Okay, let's do that. Now we say that according to us, the numbers 44 and 45, we should be able to add them and get an 89, which is true, right? 44 plus 45 is 89. That checks out. Both of them are integers, yeah. And both of them, this is a set of consecutive integers, right? They are next to each other. We are not jumping any number in between them. So looking at all those things, I think our solution checks out. Now we are at the last step of our problem solving strategy, and it is to answer the question in a complete sentence. Okay, let's do that. The two consecutive integers which when added give us 89 are 44 and 45. And that's it. We're done with the problem.